Ralph Nader.
Part of it is just learn by doing. I mean, John Dewey sort of coined that phrase, but the students, unless they're really bombed out areas of the inner city where, the issue's far greater, but they're bored, and their discipline comes from they don't see what they're being told to learn to relate to their lives. So, instead of trying to teach them book language and book work, you get them to learn how to cook and bake in elementary school. You get them to learn what voting is all about. You show them that the courts and jury system is all about, and you have mock trials. And in the high school, you can use the chemistry lab, biology lab, and physics lab for all kinds of hands-on testing heavy metals in drinking water, testing soil samples, testing vegetation, science applied to the community. And then the students feel that they're sources of knowledge, and they go home with the parents and tell them what they've actually done. We've seen this in action. We're just baking classes for fourth graders, for example, or students that were very hard to learn, and a teacher entered them into theater work, and they just flowered in their acting, and they became less defensive and less introverted. So experiential learning, as it's called, has a very important place in education. And let's not just throw that word education around. The greatest way to minimize class warfare and class conflict is justice. It's called justice, the great work of human beings on earth, as Senator Daniel Webster once said many decades ago. When the abolition movement and the women's rights movement and the labor movement, as they increase justice for themselves, and it all starts with a few people. It all starts with a few people who are active citizens, and they represent the public sentiment, as Abraham Lincoln pointed out, and they increase their numbers, and things begin to happen. But justice is the great melter of a lot of conflict, not just between nations, but right down to the community. And we just don't talk enough about it. You hear politicians talk about freedom and liberty. I mentioned yesterday Cicero's definition: freedom is participation in power. They almost never talk about justice. I read every speech Ronald Reagan made, and I couldn't find the word justice.